Welcome to Wisdom from the Mountain, a podcast about intuition, spirituality, and following your path. I'm your host, Tara Alexandria. I'm a psychic medium, intuitive guide, and healer. I'm here to support you to live from your intuition and find true healing and authentic growth. Thank you for being here and for your willingness to live your best life, for yourself and for the world around you. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Tara, your host. This week, I want to talk about receiving, being receptive, being open to what's coming your way, being open to what's right in front of you. And also, I want to first make an announcement, and that is just a quick moment to say that Lindsay Mack's course, Tarot for the Wild Soul, closes for enrollment next Tuesday. So depending on when you're listening to this, the time might already be past. But if it's not, and you've been thinking about taking your tarot practice to the next level, deepening it, deepening your relationship to yourself, to your deck, and really doing more self-work, then the time is now. The leap is here. I'm an affiliate for this course, so if you use my code, which is my first name, Tara, you get some extra support from me. I'm offering this in 25% off of my full life tarot reading so that you have a really great grounding within where you are right now. And I'm also offering my free course on tarot for yourself. And I teach reading tarot from a very intuitive perspective. On top of that, I have a group coaching session around reading tarot, around using your gifts and really getting into the way that you read tarot that's unique to you, really exploring that, really pulling out those different talents that you have to work with either yourself, if you read tarot mostly for yourself, or if you read tarot professionally or use it in a capacity that supports you in your work. So that is my announcement for today, and you can check out Lindsay's course at tarotforthewildsoul.com. And you can also get there through the link in her Instagram profile, which is at Wild Soul Healing. You know that I love all things Lindsay, so if you don't know her yet, go check her out. All right, so this week's podcast actually took a long time to download. I would say that the way I work is somewhere between getting a download and doing a reading. What I mean by that is that when I work with a client, when I do a reading, I actually have very little idea of what we're going to talk about, of what I'm going to say in that time. Sometimes I do get a lot of information beforehand, and sometimes there are just these big themes that come forward and sort of make themselves known. And for today's new moon messages, with the new moon in Taurus, I was really feeling the energy of receiving. I was feeling the understanding of receiving and how it can increase our capacity to serve in our lives, our capacity to enjoy in our lives, and our capacity to really allow the feminine to continue increasing in our world, to continue growing into its reign. What I really feel with the feminine is that we have been in this earth masculine archetypal energy for thousands of years. This energy has created communities that are based on old structures of power, struggle, hierarchies, racism, sexism, very difficult power struggles and issues, right? And the rise of the feminine is this idea that we're moving toward a nurturing, cooperative type of world that recognizes that there is space for everyone and that it isn't about the power struggle in the world, that the old paradigm is not necessary for survival, even though our old animal brains may say so. And I feel like this message is coming forward at this time part of what we're in right now energetically is really asking that we let go of old ideas. A lot of what I'm hearing from other people is that we have this new normal and this new way of being each day. And it's kind of funny to me because I'm like, well, maybe we will permanently change from here. And hopefully in some ways we will, because so many of those things can be way more nurturing for our world. So again, the reason I think this is coming up today is because we're being given the opportunity to think, how can I receive what's going on in my life with an openness, with an allowance, to grow more into myself, to grow into a higher energy, and to release some of the old structures in my life that maybe didn't feel good, or maybe weren't the best for me or my family, maybe that aren't the best for the planet itself, and really breaking down old existing structures that don't need to be here anymore, ones that are hard in their qualities and that really keep us in our places instead of allowing us to expand and grow through our life and through our own healing as individuals and as a community. One of the first ideas that I really want to talk about around receiving is first the idea of letting go. I feel like it's so important to stress that here first, because sometimes we just talk about receiving. We talk about receiving things from others, being open to new love and new opportunities and all sorts of things coming into your life. But how can you have space for anything new to come in if you don't first let go of something old? I mean, it can look as small as like getting rid of specific things in your closet so you have room for new, right? But it can also be bigger than that. It can be blocks of time in your current way of living, your current lifestyle that really take up too much space or a lot of space to where you don't have energy for anything new to come in, for anything that will take any time to make its place in your life. And sometimes they're about the mental ideas that we have in our minds, the old feelings we have, the old traumas we have, and the things that we truly need to let go of in order to make space for healing and for growth. And letting go is not just a thought. It is not just one thing you do and then you move on and suddenly there's this great space created. Although it would be magical if that were the case, and I'm sure that you may have experienced that at least once in your life, that it was that simple. But letting go is truly a process. It's a process of moving forward one step at a time and choosing not to look back, or maybe to look back and think, okay, that was serving me. Do I want to go back to it? Okay, maybe not. And continuing forward a few steps more and really keeping your eyes fixed on where you're going. Keeping your eyes on your growth, on what you truly want to achieve in this life, what you want to invite into your life and expand in your life. The things that you probably want to expand are things like positive relationships and good people that really uplift you and who you also uplift. This inner relationship of community in our life is one of the biggest things that I feel is highlighted during this time that we're in. I love that it's so highlighted. I love that so many people are helping each other on different levels and really being reciprocal. They're giving to each other in this way that we can constantly see this back and forth and this growth between them. And it's really authentic and really like igniting of passion and drive and desire in everyone, because it isn't about competition. It's about sharing, cooperation. It's about community. And I always think about this when I talk about this subject. So I just want to say, I remember learning in an anthropology course in college that communities that are led by women are about cooperation and harmony. Everyone in that community gets fed. Everyone in that community is considered and thought about. Those that are led by men are usually focused on the individual growing, the individual man and maybe his families. We can think of things like nepotism. And the growth happens in these small circles, and the rates of things like hunger go up among the more disadvantaged and disenfranchised people in that particular community. And they're particularly seeing this and doing these studies in Africa, where so many different nations are still in deep recovery from colonialism and are still in extreme power struggles with their governments and who and what is going to come into power. When we look at this model of women leading and it leading to cooperation and communication and community, truly being a community and truly caring about every single individual within, and we see them thriving, we are getting proof of this spiritual idea of the divine feminine coming in and rising up. In every way, the idea of the feminine expanding is what is healing our communities globally. In some ways, it's very extreme, and in some, it's very subtle. For many of us, it may look like job changes coming in and leading a way of life that is more in line with us, choosing that the change that's coming for us is for us, not against us, not happening to us. And if we can let go of what we're being asked to let go of or what we're feeling called to let go of with grace, we can open up to, how is this also happening for me? How is this a harmonious universe that does want me to be successful, that does want me to grow on my path and to expand into my story in the best way I can? The next idea around receiving that I'm feeling is so important for me to talk about is this idea of allowing yourself to have the desires and ideas of what it is that you do want. There's this idea that we can't actually receive something if we don't allow it. And without spiritually bypassing and assuming that we're making some kind of a mistake if we don't have something in our life that we want, I do think it's important to consider, do you actually know what you want? Do you actually connect in with desire? I recently was asked about what I want a certain part of my future to look like. And I was I was drawing a blank. I absolutely felt disconnected from that aspect of my future. And I thought, well, that's because it's not time yet, or that's because I'm not ready to think about that. I have other things going on. And then I stopped and I really just realized I don't give it any thought. I don't allow myself to have those desires, to consider what those desires might be within me that are different from everyone else around me, how I want my life to look over the long term, what I want my life to look like when I'm 80 years old and I look back at my entire life story and what was created, what came forward, what was birthed throughout my life, what died and I had to let go of, what I had to choose within myself to grow and to develop, and what I had to choose to allow to just wither away and kind of close the chapter on. Because sometimes when we're asked to move forward in some way, first, there are parts of us that leave. And I always look at those parts as having been essential to us at that time. And it's okay for us to let them go. It's okay because what they represented for us, what we needed from them, we gathered because life is happening for you. Right? Your path is unfolding in its appropriate timing. I always talk about the flower opening. You can't force a flower open, it'll die. You can only allow it to open itself and to open in its own time. And what I feel, once you're able to really connect in with those desires, with your ideas, with what it is you want, once you connect in with those, sometimes it's time to simply pause, to sort of gather up your energy and decide where you're going to put it, how you're going to use it, what you're capable of doing with it. And that pause period can be so vital it can be so enriching. It can be so life-changing. Maybe that pause period doesn't feel like a pause for you, and maybe it does. Maybe it's a time when you feel like nothing else is going on, but there's this little seed, this little idea, this little energy, this desire just percolating under the surface, getting itself ready to sort of spring up and become a more full and rich part of your life. Once that full and rich part of your life is installed, once it's here and present, you'll be giving it energy. It'll be like a baby with its own life, and you have to take care of it, and you have to meet its needs. And in meeting those needs, there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of receiving. But there's also a lot of attention and caretaking that needs to be done. And so enjoying the pause period, enjoying the moments before, the moments of the ideas, of the seeds that you're planting, are so important. And finally, I want to just move into the emotional ideas around receiving that, again, just kept coming up in my head for the past few days, and I wasn't sure how I wanted to talk about them, what I wanted to say. But today, what I'm really feeling is we have to meet ourselves where we're at with our resistance and our openness to receiving. Sometimes we're not ready to receive something, whether that be a gift, a hug, a compliment. Sometimes we're not ready to receive a new job, adulation, respect, adoration. If we're not ready to receive something, we can't do so with a truly open heart and clear energy. The energy is muddy. There's something in it that is truly blocking us from having actual joy in it, from having this receiving that is filling us up. Instead, it can feel almost like a drain because we can have other emotions come in that make us push it away, or maybe have resentment, or just cloud the space for receiving. And what I like to do, instead of just being like, great, I'm not ready to receive, cool, I actually like to invite myself to be more open to receiving. I especially say this with clients when I get someone and I say, it's time to do this. It's really time to do this in your life. This is what I'm hearing from Spirit, but I'm not feeling that you're fully ready. How are you feeling? And they're like, I'm not feeling ready either. Great. Okay. So the first thing that you can do here is just begin to say every single day, I'm willing to be open to receive this, to do this, to take this action, to hear this person, to acknowledge my feeling of whatever it is that is coming up in your life and wants to kind of enter into this space that maybe you've cleared, or is saying, hey, can you clear some space for me? Can you make some space for me to exist here? It's really important for you to first make sure. Just look in your heart a little bit, look into your feelings, look into this mental space you have that might say, I'm ready or I'm not ready. And once you just begin to say, I'm willing to be open to this, it opens the door a little tiny fraction of an inch. It opens the door just a little centimeter, and you have this willingness for it to open further. And over time, it will open further. And you can do this with anything. I've had to do this in my life with friendships. Sometimes I have to say, I'm willing to be more open to this friendship. I'm willing to be more open to this person seeing me and knowing me. I'm willing to trust this person. Or better yet, I'm willing to begin to trust this person, because maybe I haven't even begun yet. Maybe that trust where I am in trusting others just isn't available to me yet. And to make it available, I have to practice the willingness. I have to repeat the willingness in order to open that door. And sometimes this is just around money. I am willing to be open to having more money. I am willing to be open to a higher salary, to a better job, to a more fulfilling job. Maybe you want to take a pay cut and have a different kind of a job. Willingness is where you want to begin for opening your ability to receive. I am not someone who thinks that we can simply receive anything that we just set our mind to and say, okay, great, well, that would be excellent for me. Because sometimes there are a lot of layers of healing in the way. Sometimes the way people treated us in the past, sometimes our financial history, our family history, our friendship history, what we've been exposed to in the world, in terms of prejudices, in terms of what the world has been available to treat us with. Sometimes those things have us closed and contracted around what we do want, what we do desire, what our ideas are pointing us toward. And we have to work on the healing that's needed at the core of whatever it is we're feeling, wherever it is our feelings stem from, in order to grow into more openness so that receiving can make itself present, so that receiving can even happen. And I'm also someone who thinks and knows that receiving doesn't always feel super pleasant, and we don't always feel super ready for what's coming our way. And there is also a wisdom in deciding that you can make space for being really uncomfortable, but being in allowance as well. Sort of saying, okay, I'm not really comfortable with this, but it's here and I'm okay right now. I'm okay in this moment. I'm breathing. I'm taking care of myself. I'm communicating. I'm making sure my needs are met. I'm meeting my own needs. Okay, I think I'm okay today. I'm okay right now in this. And sort of setting boundaries wherever is needed with the next potential triggering moment around receiving whatever it is. When we open ourselves to just this willingness to be more receptive, to be more open to what life is bringing to us, and when I say this, I say life with a capital L. I really look at life with a capital L when I want to talk about what the universe, what spirit, what God is bringing you, depending on your languaging around the divine. And sometimes I just disconnect from that idea of the divine and I think life, because life is an intelligent force that's happening. It's something that we are in. It's something that we are both being lived and living out. And being in that force, being in that awareness that it's a current that we're always in. And the way that we allow that current to take us, the way that we flow with that current, sort of dictates our peace. It dictates our level of peace in the world. And that's why we practice trust with the universe. That's why we work on things like saying, I'm safe, divine has me, my guides are with me, my angels are with me, whatever we believe in. Because practicing that cultivates a true sense of peace in wherever we are. And that's why I share this with you today, so that you can practice cultivating your own peace, so that you can practice opening up your willingness to receive, so that you can open your space around you, your mind, your capacity to hold new opportunities that come your way, new love that comes your way, new support that comes your way, and to maybe just take some time right now to examine what you really desire, what your ideas are for your life, how you are open to them or not, what it is you might want to review and let go of, what you might actually want to say, does this want to make its way out of my life? Is this an old paradigm structure that doesn't want to roll with me anymore? And how am I going to release it gracefully and look forward to something that does? And how can I be here for it? How can I be present with this this feminine energy that really has me right now, that's really holding me in the flow of life itself? So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope sincerely that you are taking care of yourself, that you are really ensuring that this is a time for you to come back into yourself and to knowing that life is for you, that you're supported, and that the people and the things and the energies that come in around you, they're coming in to be received for your highest good, but only when you're ready for them. And it's great practice to simply begin making space to receive compliments, to receive support, to receive laughter or hugs or love, whatever it may be. And even if it's small, seeing it as powerful, seeing it as part of something that will make you grow, something that will make you expand. I like the word expand better than grow sometimes, because expansion is this process that we can do all of our lives. Just expanding into who we are more and more, expanding into that singular energy that is you all your life is really what you're here to do. So thank you so much again for being here, and I will see you next week. Happy new moon.